There's something you need to understand about why this video found you right now. You haven't just been chasing goals, not just dreams, not even success. You've been chasing a feeling. And every time you get close, every time you almost reach it, it moves. The goalpost shifts. The satisfaction you thought would finally arrive doesn't. And you're left standing there, wondering, why does nothing ever feel like enough? Why does every achievement come with an expiration date on the joy it brings? Why are you already hungry for the next thing before you've even digested the last? And somewhere, deep inside, a quiet thought has started getting louder. What if the problem isn't what I'm chasing, but the chasing itself? What if the real trap is believing that getting what you want will finally make you feel how you're supposed to feel? Pause for a second, because what I'm about to say might either free you or completely shake you. When you expect nothing, you gain everything. Not someday, not as a reward. Right now, the moment you loosen your grip. Let's break this open. Every time you do anything, your mind is running a silent calculation. If I do this, I'll get that. If I show up this way, they'll respond that way. If I work this hard, I'll deserve this outcome. Sounds logical, right? Effort equals reward. Cause equals effect. But here's the part nobody tells you. That equation becomes a prison. Because the moment you attach your actions to expected outcomes, you stop living and you start performing. You stop expressing. You start negotiating. Every conversation becomes a transaction. Every relationship becomes conditional. Every dream becomes a contract you're trying to enforce with a universe that never signed it. And the worst part? You don't even realize you're doing it. You think you're just being driven, focused, ambitious, but underneath it all, you've made your happiness dependent on things you can't control. And that is exhausting. Not the work, the constant checking. Is this paying off yet? Is this working? Is this enough? That's what's draining you. Let me show you something powerful. Think about the last time someone did something kind for you, unexpectedly. No strings, no conditions. How did it feel? Pure, right? Real, effortless. Now flip it. Think of a time you did something for someone, and they didn't respond how you expected. No appreciation, no acknowledgement, no return. How did that feel? Like you were robbed, like something was taken from you. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If it was truly a gift, why did their response matter? Why did their reaction decide whether your action had value? Because it wasn't a gift. It was an investment. You were expecting a return. And when reality didn't follow the script you wrote in your head, you felt betrayed. But who actually betrayed you? They didn't know the rules. You created the contract silently and expected them to honor it. And this pattern, it's not just affecting your relationships with others. It's damaging your relationship with yourself. You tell yourself, if I meditate today, I should feel better tomorrow. If I work out this week, I should see results next week. If I do everything right, life should reward me. But life doesn't work like that. Not because it's unfair, but because this whole idea of owing and deserving is something your mind created, just to feel in control, to feel safe, to believe there's a guaranteed formula. But there isn't, there never was. And the moment you truly accept that, something shifts. You stop keeping score. You stop waiting for validation. And for the first time in a long time, you actually experience the moment you're in, not as a stepping stone, but as life itself. Let's make this real. You're working on something you care about, and every time you sit down, there's a voice asking, is this good enough? Will people like this? Is this leading anywhere? That voice isn't helping you. It's contaminating the process. You're no longer creating, you're auditioning, performing for an invisible audience that probably isn't even watching. Now, imagine this. You do the same work, but with zero expectation. Not zero effort. Zero expectation. You show up fully. You give everything, but you're not demanding a result. And suddenly, the work improves. Not because you're trying harder, but because you've stopped interfering. You're present. You're flowing. You're expressing. And expression, without expectation, is the purest form of being alive. It's what you did as a child, before the world told you everything had to be useful, impressive, or validated. Now here comes the uncomfortable question. If you let go of expectations, who are you? If you're not your achievements, not your progress, not your constant becoming, What's left? Sit with that for a second, because most people never do. They keep moving, keep chasing, keep building, not always because they want more, but because they're afraid of what remains if they stop. And that fear you feel right now, that slight tightening in your chest, that resistance to even consider letting go, that's your ego reacting, not because something is wrong, but because something is ending. You see, the ego needs a story. It needs a direction, a destination, a version of you that's always just ahead, something to chase, something to prove, something to become. Because as long as there's something to become, you never have to fully be. And without that story, without that constant movement towards someday, it feels like death, like everything you've been building, everything you've been identifying with, is suddenly dissolving. But here's the truth most people never realize. It's not death, it's freedom. You're not losing yourself. You're shedding the version of you that was built out of pressure, fear, and expectation. And underneath that, you're finally meeting the version of you that existed before the performance began, before you learned you had to earn love, before you believed you had to prove your worth, before you started measuring your value through outcomes. That version of you is still here, quiet, unbothered, whole, waiting. So let's redefine something important, because this is where most people get it wrong. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you become cold, distant, or indifferent. It doesn't mean you stop trying. It means something far more powerful than that. It means you care so deeply that you refuse to let outcomes decide whether your effort had value. Read that again. You care without conditions. You love without needing it returned in a specific way. You create without needing applause to validate you. You show up without needing recognition to feel seen. You give because giving is who you are, not because you're hoping it will come back multiplied. And when you begin to live like that, everything changes, not always on the outside, at least not immediately, but internally. Everything shifts because you're no longer living in a constant state of negotiation with life. You're no longer asking, what will this give me? Is this worth it? Will this pay off? You're simply present, and that presence, that grounded, unconditional way of showing up, that's where real peace lives. Now here's the paradox no one prepares you for. The moment you stop chasing, things start showing up, not in some magical overnight transformation, not because the universe is suddenly rewarding your detachment, but because you're finally paying attention. Before, your vision was narrow, locked onto one specific outcome, one specific timeline, one specific version of how life should unfold. And anything that didn't match that picture, you ignored it, dismissed it, or didn't even see it at all. But now your grip is softer. Your vision is wider. You begin to notice things you used to miss. Opportunities that don't look like what you expected, but lead somewhere even better. Connections that feel natural instead of forced. Moments of joy that were always there, but got overlooked because they didn't feel big enough. You start realizing life was never empty. You were just too focused on what was missing to see what was already present. So here's your practice. Not 10 things, not a complete life overhaul. Just one. Pick one area of your life and remove expectation from it. Just one. If you exercise, don't do it to look different tomorrow. Don't measure it. Don't evaluate it. Just move. Feel your body. Feel your breath. Be inside the experience instead of judging it from the outside. If you create, don't create for approval. Don't create for validation. Don't even create to be good. Just express. Let it be messy. Let it be raw. Let it be real. Because expression without expectation is where truth lives. If you love, don't love as a transaction. Don't love to receive. Don't love with a hidden contract. Just give, fully, openly, and let whatever comes, come, and then watch. Not with urgency, not with pressure, but with curiosity. Watch what begins to shift inside you, slowly, almost so subtly you might miss it at first. You'll start to feel lighter, less tight, less burdened, like something heavy has been set down. Even if you can't quite explain what it was, you'll feel freer, not because your life suddenly became perfect, but because you're no longer trying to force it to be. And for the first time in a long time, it will feel like you're not auditioning anymore. Not for people, not for success, not even for your own approval. You're just living. And if this hits you, if something inside you feels seen, understood, recognized, if there's a quiet voice in you saying, this is what I've been missing, then pause and say this out loud or silently. But say it with intention. I release the grip, not as a performance, not as a trend, but as a decision. Because that's what this really is. Not giving up, not settling, not losing ambition, but finally, letting go of what was never in your control to begin with. You were never meant to carry the weight of proving your worth. You were never meant to negotiate your existence. You were never meant to earn something that was already yours. But somewhere along the way, you were taught that you had to. So you performed, you calculated, you chased, and you forgot. You forgot that your value was never conditional, never dependent, never something to be achieved. So stop. Stop performing. Stop calculating. Stop turning every moment into a test you have to pass. Stop asking life to justify itself to you. And just be messy, unfinished, imperfect, human. Because in that moment, that quiet, unguarded, expectation-free moment, you'll finally see it. The thing you've been chasing your entire life. Not success, not validation, not some future version of yourself, but this, the simple, undeniable truth. You were already enough. Not one day, not when you achieve more, not when you become better. Right now, exactly as you are. You just forgot while trying so hard to become someone else.